Let's give you that.
All right. So in Tucson, we are well aware of tiki culture. We're hanging on to it by our fingernails. We are one of those places where we are loath to let go of the original tiki. Tucson has kept it going for a while. And with the con tiki, and maybe you can explain to us how tiki resonates in some communities and why in a place like New Orleans where you'd think it would hang on, someplace like the Pontchartrain Beach goes away and the Hukilau go away. And a place like Tucson, the con tiki hangs in there. But we do that with you because you are, in fact, our expert, Beach Bum Berry.
Well, I swim in a very small pond. I think I became expert by default because nobody else just really wanted the job. But there's two reasons why these grand old Polynesian places hung on this long, sometimes 40, 50, 60 years. One is they're in a tourist center where they have a constant influx of tourists. The Mai Kai in Fort Lauderdale, for example, opened in 56, would have gone the way of the dinosaurs, like on the beach clubs and all the other places, had it not been in Fort Lauderdale, where they had busloads of tourists bust in from hotels to see their Polynesian show, and that kept the restaurant alive. The other thing that kept these places alive was just, again, location, location, location. In the case of Tucson, as in the case of some of the Southern California places, you're in the desert. And what's the antidote to being in the desert? You know, going to a lush tropical Polynesian paradise for a few hours, and that's what a place like the Kon-Tiki can offer you. So that hung on for that reason. It didn't need tourists, it didn't need outsiders. The local clientele would keep it going.
Yeah, just monkey on a stick eaters.
Yeah, whereas in other urban areas, the fad would burn out and people would go to, go move on to other things. But Tucson has more of a, that you got that heat, you got that, you just want to escape from.
Honey, we're thirsty.
Yeah.
You said it best the first time. We're thirsty. And you know, sometimes you want something else besides a margarita.
Yeah.
But I want to talk. Beach Bum Berry Remixed is your new book. It's going to be out in November. I don't even know how many titles you've got out now.
I'm losing track myself. I think this is going to be the fifth one.
Okay.
And,
so 5 books. This is a phenomenon, big enough to support 5 books. You are an in-demand speaker. You make appearances all over. People are really wanting to know, and you become the oracle of tiki. So, yeah, really. So, how long has this been going on?
Have I been doing this?
Yeah, because when did our reawakening, when did our tiki renaissance happen?
Well, the tiki revival started a long time ago now. You can say this, but it seems like yesterday to me, but it started in the mid-90s, and it was not really a food or drink revival. What it was sort of like a sort of ironic hipster underground alternative thing. It was lumped in with the whole swing dance and Rat Pack lounge music thing. It started with music, with kids going to thrift stores and finding all these relics of a vanished civilization. It was camp and kitsch, like Aloha shirts, Martin Denny records, tiki mugs. All this stuff was like cheap. It was in thrift stores. They kind of picked up on it. And
it had to have had an intrinsic cool to appeal to anybody. The first time, let alone the second time. I think the fact that something can be revived is an indication of an intrinsic value, an intrinsic appeal, an intrinsic coolness.
Well, what I like to say is an unironic value, yeah. It's kind of gone full circle. In its heyday, from 1934, when Donna Beast opened the first Polynesian restaurant / tiki bar, to the time that the fad finally died after about 40 years in the 70s, it was viewed very unironically. There's nothing kitsch or camp about it. It was a big, expensive, glamorous night out. It was something that was meant for the fur coat crowd, is what Trader Vic used to distinguish between the fur coat crowd and the cloth coat crowd. He wasn't interested in the cloth coat crowd, the people who couldn't afford fur. These were high-end restaurants, high-end, glamorous, exotic, expensive places to go.
So Pat Nixon in her cloth coat was not a Scorpion Bowl girl.
Well, her husband was into Navy grogs. I know that. That was Tricky Dick's favorite drink. I also know that the president's men, his cabinet, Henry Kissinger and all the others, lived in mortal fear of Vic's sneakaways from the White House to Trader Vic's because they just hated those drinks. Well, they just drank straight booze like, true Washington Pauls. But Vic likes his tropical drinks, and they just always lived in fear of the time when he would say, let's go to Trader Vic's and talk this out, because then they couldn't drink their beloved straight bourbon.
Who, Tricky Dick did that?
Yeah, he snuck away to Trader Vic's. That was his little escape.
Hey, listen, we're going to run out of time. We're going to squeeze some more time in. Will you come back and visit us again as a phone-in guest? Because we'd like to do a whole hour, because it's summertime and it's beach time, and people want to do this at home, and we've got to turn to you, our expert, on how we can do this kind of thing at home. Is tiki evolving as these great mixologists, this young talent, are coming to the sort of pre-existing tradition?
We can do an hour on that right there. I mean, if in a nutshell, in a minute or two, what I've seen is craft, artisanal, star bartenders who a year ago would have completely turned up their noses at anything even remotely resembling a tropical drink or tiki drink, are now not only embracing it, but just running with it. I was in New York in November at Death & Company, PDT, these like really hot, of-the-moment craft cocktail bars where they take everything very seriously. They're all embracing Don the Beachcomber and Trader Vic, and they've all put these drinks on their menu, and they find it's a way of flexing their muscles. These are complex culinary drinks, and they're coming around and realizing that 12, 15 ingredients, it gives them a chance to really stretch themselves, and they're coming up with inventing new drinks, some fabulous new drinks in the tiki mold. And I never saw it coming, frankly, but the tropical drinks are leaving that ghetto again. Sort of with the whole cocktail renaissance, a rising tide lifts all booze. I mean, they're finally getting around to...
And good booze lifts all boats.
Yeah,
and all bums.
Yeah, but the cocktailers they're finally getting around to tropical drinks and just sort of enfolding them into the whole canon, of craft cocktails.
Well, it lifts all of us bums, especially my favorite beach bum, Barry himself. I am so happy to have you. I have to ask, in all this traveling around to all these great places, what's the best new tiki drink that's going to make me, reluctantly perhaps, give up my Mai Tai for something else? What have you found that has knocked your socks off?
What's knocked my socks off is a guy named Brian Miller at Death & Company. His goal in life is to be the new Don the Beachcomber. It was something he confessed to me. And he did a drink called Gant's Tomb. And Ernest Raymond Beaumont Gant was the name of Don. It was Don Beachcomber's original name. So he did a play on Grant's Tomb and called his drink Gant's Tomb. And the way that Don used to mix 3 different rums of different body and character to create a unique base spirit, Brian did that with the favorite drink of the cocktail geeks in New York, with rye. He's mixing rye and rum. He's mixing different gins together in tropical tall punches. And the Gant's Tomb, I think, was one of the first ones he came up with. And it's got 101 proof rye mixed with Demerara rum and a lot of juices, tall punch. And I think that would do it. That would knock your socks off.
That will knock your socks off. Can I tell you, it is always such a treat to get to see you. It is such a delight to get to spend time with you.
Well, right back at you, Jennifer. Let's do that hour sometime.
We got to do it soon. We got to do it while the summer's still around.
Yeah, and I'm going to go shopping.
All right, go shopping in the back. We've got our own swag suite. All right, so part of what happens at Tales of the Cocktail is all the companies that are the sponsor companies, and I'm very proud to say that FlavorBank.com Spice Market is the official bar spice and has been the official bar spice for Tales of the Cocktails for several years. And how exciting is it to see these young mixologists coming up with inventive drinks, incorporating these incredibly fresh spices.
Unbelievable, and actually seeking them out and looking for them and wanting to add them and saying, hey, I would love those in my bars. And, I mean, I've seen the New Orleans bartender turn to the big guys going, hey, I like Chris McMillan. He stopped me twice and said, is she going to send that to me? Am I really going to get those? I said, yes, I'll bring them to you myself on a cart.
And he's the bartender at French 75.
No, he's the bartender at Bar Uncommon in the Père Marquette. The big guy, Big Chris McMillan.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're thinking of Chris Hanna.
I'm thinking of Chris Hanna. I get the Chris's confused.
We have 2 Chris's.
You have 2. You're Chris Rich. We're going to find Tony Abuganet. We're going to take a very quick break. We're going to remind you that we are broadcasting live from the historic Carousel Lounge at the Monteleone Hotel, right here in the heart of the French Quarter in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Right where we laissez les bons temps rouler.
Let the good times roll. And always with a designated driver. We're going to be right back after this very quick break.